wind howled through the jagged peaks of Shadow Ridge, carrying with it the scent of impending snow. Ethan tightened his scarf around his neck, his breath forming ghostly clouds in the frigid air. The sun had just begun its descent, painting the horizon in shades of crimson and gold, a stark contrast to the icy gray expanse of the ridge. Ethan wasn't alone. Beside him, Maya, his climbing partner, adjusted her gear with trembling hands. "We need to move quickly," she said, her voice barely audible over the wind. "The storm's closing in faster than expected." Ethan nodded, his eyes scanning the path ahead. The ridge was narrow, a knife edge of rock and ice that seemed to slice through the sky. Below them, the valley stretched endlessly, its shadowy depths a reminder of the peril they faced. But they had no choice. They had to press on. The journey to this point had been arduous, but the summit was their goal, a challenge they had both dreamed of conquering for years. Yet now, as the storm clouds gathered and the temperature plummeted, doubt began to creep into Ethan's mind. Was it worth the risk? A sudden gust of wind nearly knocked him off balance. He glanced back at Maya, who was now just a few steps behind. Her face was pale, her lips a faint shade of blue. "Are you okay?" he asked, his voice tinged with concern. She managed a weak smile. "I'm fine. Let's keep moving." As they inched forward, the storm's fury intensified. Snow began to fall, thick and blinding, obscuring their view of the trail. The once clear path was now a treacherous blur. Ethan's heart pounded in his chest. Each step felt like a gamble, a roll of the dice against nature's wrath. Suddenly, a crack echoed through the air. Ethan froze, his eyes widening as the ground beneath him shifted. The ridge was giving way. "Maya!" he shouted, reaching out to her as the ice and rock crumbled beneath his feet. Maya lunged forward, her hand clasping his just in time. For a moment, they hung suspended over the abyss, the world around them a chaotic swirl of snow and wind. Ethan's fingers dug into the frozen rock, his grip on Maya's hand tightening. "Don't let go!" he yelled, though his voice was nearly drowned out by the storm. With a desperate effort, Maya pulled him back onto the ridge. They collapsed onto the icy ground, their breaths ragged and heavy. For a moment, neither of them spoke, the reality of their near-death experience sinking in. "We need to turn back," Maya said finally, her voice firm despite the exhaustion in her eyes. "The summit isn't worth dying for." Ethan nodded, the weight of her words cutting through his adrenaline-fueled determination. Together, they began their descent, each step taking them farther from the summit but closer to safety. The storm raged on, but they moved as one, their bond strengthened by the harrowing ordeal. As they reached the base of the ridge, the first rays of dawn broke through the storm clouds, illuminating the landscape in a soft, golden light. Ethan and Maya paused, turning back to look at the ridge one last time. It loomed above them, majestic and unyielding, a testament to nature's power. Ethan took a deep breath, the cold air filling his lungs. "We'll come back one day," he said quietly. "But for now, we live to climb another day." Maya nodded, a faint smile on her lips. Together, they walked away, their footprints fading into the snow as the ridge stood silently behind them, waiting for the next challenge.